kids, welcome to Kids TV News. I'm Jenna Zavoyna. We're just now emerging from a worldwide pandemic and adjusting to the disruption of life as we've known it. So, how are we doing? Well, on today's show, we'll check in with social worker Sarah Quinn on how we're handling the stress and awkwardness of socializing again. And we'll drop in at the Humane Society of Harford County, where there are lots of homeless pets just waiting for you and a forever home. We'll also give you a long list of all the activities you've been waiting for here in Harford County, so you don't miss out on an active and fun summer. But first, the mission of Harford County Public Schools is to arm kids with the skills to succeed far beyond the classroom. Let's take a look at an innovative program designed and run by students that challenges us to open our eyes and ears to the issues we face to create a better, more equitable world. Discrimination, racism, bias. We see these things in our world, in our country, in our community. A group of Harford County Public School students decided to use their experiences with discrimination, racism, and bias as a way to open the doors to discussion and lay the foundation for a better, more equitable world.
Voices of Equity is a movement. It's not a club. It's not your typical school-wide organization. It's something bigger than that.
You know, it's Voices of Equity. So we all talk and we try to work towards common goals, and what every single person says is important.
There needs to be conversations occurring so that every party can feel like they're represented and so that every party can feel like they understand the other.
The only way that Voices of Equity works is by the people that we're talking to opening their minds and ears and listening.
A lot of the racism or discrimination or bias that I've experienced has been in the form of microaggressions. So it's not exactly blatant racism or slurs. It's more so assumptions that people make or snide remarks people say.
Oh, that's gay, or oh, you know homo, right? Or do you have a crush on me?
Oh, you talk so white.
Oh, you're a girl, you're gay.
Oh, do you even know like how it is to be black?
To feel like you are not going to fit into a certain group, or that somebody looks down on you for something that you can't control.
The first thing it did was make me feel ashamed for who I was and who I am.
There's this feeling of being almost like an out-of-body experience of being something but being told that you're not.
I was like any kid would be when they're teased and bullied repeatedly. You know, I would cry, I was hurt by it.
Feeling stunted, as feeling like you maybe don't belong in a certain situation with a certain group of people.
And when you deal with it for so long, you have to learn to not let it bother you, or else you'll go crazy.
It kind of dulled my confidence because it made me feel out of place or unwanted in an area.
And you're starting almost to feel like less of a person.
When I joined Voices of Equity, I understood that there was going to be a lot of resistance.
I think when it comes to discrimination and bias and racism in a community, it shows a very us versus them mentality.
People may not want change because they feel like they may be the target of said change, and that scares them.
Of course, all humans have fear of the unknown, but when it gets to that level where you're scared of people who don't look like you or don't speak like you or aren't from the same place as you, it shows that you're very scared of learning new things, and maybe you're insecure with yourself and you're not really sure, like, if I was exposed to an area or people who were different than me, would I lose who I am?
Human nature is to want to be comfortable, but societies don't change that way.
And I think that it's important when you have conversations about backlash or conversations to somebody that is resistant to an idea that you may hold, that you convey to that person that it's okay to have a separate idea.
We need to understand that we need to treat those people who may oppose us with the same level of respect as we would want to be treated ourselves.
Or that everyone offers a new perspective, and that when we put all of them together, we can figure out what we really need to do to make society better.
We need to listen to every single person's story, everything that they have to say, everything that they feel equally, and then we'll spark change.
How do we move forward? And how do these conversations start?
You have friends, friends are people that like to test your boundaries, push your buttons. And sometimes you have to take them aside and you have to say, hey, I understand that you were just trying to make a joke, but that did hurt.
Sometimes you just have to reach out and just have a conversation with one person. That one person can then reach out to another person. There's strength in numbers.
We need to talk about, first of all, why we're not able to talk about things, but second of all, why people have head starts in life, why people seem to be left behind.
I think the hardest conversation people really have to have isn't with another person, it's with the mirror. I think that when an entire community is engulfed in this system and they necessarily aren't affected by it, it's a sense, it puts blinders on. And it takes some courageous conversation to take the blinders off and really have a interesting conversation and some dialogue about how this is affecting other people and how do we move forward.
Equity is making sure that everybody is given not the same thing, but given what they need to be able to reach the same level as those around them.
I think equity is when you look at a certain population or a group of people that are similar in some ways and dissimilar in even more ways, everyone is given the same opportunity to succeed.
We need to be able to look at, a group of people and say, although they may not be me, they are entitled to everything that I'm entitled to because they are people.
I think that things like respect and equity, they show a community that is confident in itself and its own nature and can give to others.
I guess we need to repave society in a fashion that doesn't define strong and weak as whether or not we're willing to abandon our beliefs. Because I don't think it's abandoning them, I think it's being able to change, right? Change is powerful. Change is a strength.
My voice is important, my voice matters because I'm a student, because I'm the one affected by what happens within the school. I'm the one affected by other students. I'm the one affected by teachers. I'm the one that's affected by staff.
Every generation changes the world differently. And I think my voice is important right now because this is the time that we are changing the world and molding the world into what we want to birth our kids into or marry someone in or get a job in.
Well, students are the largest group of stakeholders within any public school system or any school system, period. So if we're not listening to our biggest stakeholders, what are we doing?
You can't have a school system that speaks about making sure that they raise their students to take on the world and doesn't raise their students to be able to take on each other, doesn't raise their students to be able to take on the problems that face them in the moment.
Voices of Equity works by having students from every school, every level of education, whether it be elementary, middle, or high school, collaborate in a discussion with their own schools to eventually create something that's more countywide.
Well, I know the Voice of Equity has gone beyond the school system just by things that, I've done, like going home and telling my parents something I learned or something I talked about and sharing that knowledge.
So at the end of the day, Voices of Equity is primarily school focused. It's something that, is built upon the school system. But everyone that joins Voices of Equity, their views aren't just tied to school. We're all fully fleshed out individuals with, ideas and opinions and about everything. So we take, the conversations we have at Voices of Equity with us into other places in our life.
That's what Voice of Equity can do in the community. It goes outside of the group and these ideas and, they spread.
This is something that started in one school and has now moved into multiple schools and hopefully, eventually, the entire school system. This is giving students a voice in their education, in their school systems, in their school communities that changes the culture of that school for the better.
Slow things down and explore the timeless beauty of the Barn Quilt Trail of Harford County. Marked by hand-painted quilts, each location offers a unique adventure. Share new experiences and support local business as you discover rural Harford County, Maryland.
Come experience the culture and history of rural Maryland and take a trip on the Barn Quilt Trail of Harford County.
Welcome back to Kids TV News. Over the past year, we've had to put limits on almost every aspect of our lives. And now that there are restrictions easing, we are looking at socializing and seeing our friends more often. Well, sometimes that can be difficult. So, we've enlisted the help of social worker Sarah Quinn to help us through this transition back to a new normal.
Hi, I'm Sarah Quinn, the Director of Crisis Response for Office on Mental Health, Core Service Agency of Harford County. I'd love to take a few minutes today to talk to you about kids and mental health and what's happening in our community and for kids around the country right now. So before we talk about what's going on with kids' mental health, it might be really helpful to understand what is mental health. Mental health is something that we all have. Just like we all have physical health, how well our bodies are functioning and acting, we all have mental health. That talks about how well we're doing with our feelings, the way our brain is thinking, and the way that we're able to do the things that we like as a result. So right now, a lot of kids are going back to some of their old routines. Right? So for a long time, we weren't able to go to school. We weren't able maybe to gather with family the way that we wanted to. We weren't able to do a lot of our activities. And so there's a lot of excitement to be able to return to doing some of the things that we did before. But we might also be having some feelings around that. Sometimes any change, even good change, can cause anxiety, which is like us being worried or scared, or can cause us just to feel sad or unsure or irritable or grumpy. We're yelling at our parents or we're not wanting to leave our room. These are all sort of things that might be going on for us as we're trying to transition back into things. Also, many of us are still experiencing a lot of the feelings that we've had from a year and a half of being in a pandemic. That was a really scary experience for a lot of us, and during that time we saw that a lot more kids were experiencing sadness, worry, and also were living in households where their parents were experiencing sadness and worry. It can be scary when the grown-up in your household is not feeling as good as they usually feel. So these are all things that lots of us are dealing with right now, and if you feel that way, that's okay. We all get that way sometimes, and there's lots we can do to help. So how do you know if you need help around some of these feelings that you're having? So earlier we talked about mental health and physical health. You know, in physical health, there are some times when you're a little bit sick, but you don't necessarily have to go to the doctor. Maybe you just have a cold and your mom helps you out by giving you some hugs and chicken noodle soup, and in a few days, you feel better. That's great. But sometimes you got a broken arm and you got to go to the doctor because they're the ones that have to help you for that. Mental health is the same way. We all are going to have days where we feel sad or worried. And a lot of times if we go to the grown-up in our household or another grown-up that we know and trust, they can help us talk through those things and figure it out, and we feel a lot better. That's a great place to start. But sometimes we have these feelings for longer. If you've been feeling sad for a lot of days in a row, or scared about something and you can't get that thought out of your head, that might be a time when you need help beyond your mom or dad or a teacher or your pastor. In those cases, you might need to work with your mom or dad or the caring grown-up in your home who takes care of you to figure out how you can go see a therapist or a counselor. If you've never gone to a therapist or a counselor before, it might sound a little bit scary or you might not know what to expect. So let me give you a little bit of information about some of the things that might happen if you go to see a therapist. The first thing you should know is that a therapist is there because they care about you and they want you to feel better. They're going to do everything they can to try and make you feel safe and comfortable in their space. Sometimes you might not feel that right away, and that's okay. If you're a younger kid, then a lot of times you're probably expressing yourselves not just through your words, but also through the ways that you play. So your therapist might have things in their space, like doll houses, toys, games, that might help you to open up so you don't have to just sit there and talk. If you're an older kid, they might still do some of those things. You might also talk or do art or, again, play some games. Your therapist is going to work with you to figure out what helps you to feel safe and be able to share and work on some of the things that are causing you stress or sadness. There are also other kinds of specialized therapy. Like right now, some therapists are doing therapy on the computer. So if you can't get to a therapist's office, that might be an option. Or some kids like to do therapy with horses or art or other ways of expressing themselves. So if it doesn't feel great right away, that's okay. Take some time to work with your therapist and the caring adults in your life to find the right fit for you. If you or the grown-up in your life think some of these services might be helpful for you, but you're not sure how to get started, then we would love for you to reach out to us. At Harford Crisis Response, we have really nice, trained phone counselors who are available to answer your questions and help you with your mental health needs 24 hours a day. You can always reach them by calling 1-800-NEXT-STEP or 410-874-0711. We also have an urgent care mental health center, the Harford Crisis Center, here in Harford County, which is a great resource. Just like urgent care centers for physical health, you don't need an appointment. You can just walk in between 9 and 9 and see a counselor. That's a great way to get started if you're not sure how to do it.
During the pandemic lockdowns, lots of us turned to our pets for comfort and companionship. But there are lots of pets still waiting to enrich our homes and lives. So let's head over to the Humane Society of Harford County for some tips on how to prepare yourself and your parents for a new family pet.
Hi everybody, my name is Erin and I'm here at the Humane Society of Harford County in Fallston. And I'm here today with my pal Grizz. Grizz is all about toys. He loves to play and he's a 7-year-old boy who's super sweet. And he's one of about 3,000 animals that come to the shelter every single year. And did you know if you do the math and divide that by 365, that's 6 to 7 animals that come here every single day. We're open 7 days a week here and we do get new animals like Grizz every day. So in addition to dogs, we get cats and kittens. We get small and furry animals like rabbits, guinea pigs, gerbils, ferrets. But wait, there's more. We also get farm animals. So we have things like pigs and goats and sheep, and we have a barn here at the shelter for our animal friends. So if you're thinking of adopting a pet here like Grizz, you want to make sure that you do your homework. You want to make sure that you have all of the right supplies so that you have a healthy and happy best friend. So here are just a couple of things that I brought with me today. So you want to make sure you have toys. Grizz loves his toys here. You want to make sure that you have one of these because just like us, pets need to have their hair brushed every day. And especially this time of year, it's shedding season, so you get lots of hair. All right, you also want to make sure that you have 2, count them, 2 bowls. One is for your fresh water. You want to change that every day and make sure it's nice and fresh. This one's for your food. And you can do dry food. You can mix a little bit of wet food in. It really doesn't matter. So you think you're ready to adopt, right? So you might be afraid that your parents are going to say no. So before you ask them, you want to make sure that you're prepared. And when I'm saying that you're prepared, I think the first thing that you should do is do your research. Go on the computer, go to the library. There are so many resources out there. You can research maybe the breed and you can find out what kind of dog breeds are best for you or what kind of cat may be best for you. And then I would also suggest that you show your parents that you're responsible. And by that, sorry, you're gonna have to help your parents out at home. So whether it's mowing the lawn, washing dishes, helping with the laundry, that really shows your parents that you're responsible and that you know what it takes to care for a dog. And then I would also suggest, see, it's a lot of work. I would also suggest that you come up with a checklist. Maybe you list the supplies that you know the animal that you want to adopt is going to need, and go even a step further. And if you want to put a cost that's associated with those items, that way your parents know you've thought this through. And finally, what you want to do is then you want to schedule a family meeting. And at your family meeting, that's when you're going to present all of the research that you've come up with, and you're going to present your compelling case, and then you're going to sit back and you're going to wait for your parents to say yes. And then the final thing you're going to do is you're going to come right here to the shelter and you're going to pick out your family's new best friend. So what I have with me today are some really fun, easy, and really inexpensive ways that you can help. And you probably have most of this stuff around the house. So what this is a really fun crinkle toy that you can make. And all you need are two things: an old sock and a water bottle. And that's all you do. Put the water bottle into the sock. You can tie off the ends into a knot. Instant toy for your dog. Your dog will love this. Hours of fun. Another thing you can do is you can make your own rope toy. And all you need is, if you want to go to the craft store and get a couple of strips of fleece, you can use an old t-shirt. You can even use an old pair of jeans that's laying around. And so you're going to knot it at one end, and then you're going to braid it. Very easy. And then you're going to knot the other end and just cut it off. If you want to make fringes, you can do that too. You can make it as fun as you want. Try using different colors, and that makes a really pretty toy. You can also do a lemonade stand this summer. So grab your best pal, make some lemonade, make a sign, and set up in your front yard. You could have a yard sale. You could collect aluminum cans. You can start a supply drive in your neighborhood. The sky's the limit. And then you just come here to the shelter and you can donate your proceeds. We'll take a picture and you'll even be a star. We'll get you on our Facebook page. Here's another idea. You can make, if you like to cook, you can make dog biscuits, and you could also make cat treats. Again, I'm here at the Humane Society of Harford County in Fallston, and I encourage you to come here and check out the pets that we have. You can see them. They'd love to see you.
Hi, I'm County Executive Barry Glassman. It's great to be back at Harford County's 4-H shows and other summer events. But when activities move indoors this fall, COVID is more likely to spread. If you're not sure about getting the vaccine, talk to your doctor, and remember, it's free, it's easy, and it's ready when you are.
Getting together with our friends, family, and neighbors is an important part of a healthy and happy community. So, here are some ways we can learn, socialize, and have fun right here in Harford County. Well, that's it for today's show. Thanks for sticking around. We'd love to hear from you. You can log on to our website at KidsTVNews.com. Let us know what you think and what you'd like to see here on Kids TV News. Until next time, I'm Jenna Zavoyna. So long!